when this stuff goes to the front of the court, they're already supposed to do a test. Is it remuneration or isn't it? They don't do it because the state court administrator just put VA benefits on there, so they just put a blanket over it.
That's right.
Whatever it is.
Most of the states have issued what's called mandatory family court forms. And the purpose of mandatory forms is to eliminate the understanding or eliminate the opportunity for due process of law.
Yes.
Because the mandatory form says you put this in here, and if it's not already mentioned in there, some of them just say Social Security benefits, disability benefits, stuff like that. And they say that's income. And there are some that actually say veteran benefits. There are states that have laws that say veteran benefits count as income. Washington State passed a law in 1991 to count veteran benefits in alimony and child support orders. But here's the caveat. When they passed that law by the state legislature, it was a violation of the 14th Amendment by passing a law that would cancel the rights of the veteran established by the Veterans Judicial Review Act, which makes it clear that states have no authority to do that. So they wrote a law that is garbage. It's unconstitutional. Those laws have to be challenged. There's a law in Louisiana that says if the federal law preempts it, but state law allows it, then state law takes precedent over federal law.
No.
Yeah.
That's
they can say that, but that's
what
incorrect.
What would be the enumerated powers of Congress then? Like what would be the point of it? Like It's already there. It's already black and white, black letter law.
Yeah.
So
Marbury versus Madison is a fun case to read because it's short, sweet, and brutally honest. And it says that even though the powers of the federal government are limited, where those powers are concerned, any law written by Congress is supreme. It is the supreme law of the land. So that's a good case. And there's other cases that are referring back to that. I want to say the Battle Dwarf or Dr. Dwarf here.
Marbury is one of my favorite ones. I sat and discussed Marbury with an attorney that I worked with in Los Angeles who's retired now and pushing his 80s. This was one of his favorite cases. Marbury versus Madison is an Ouroboros. It's the snake eating its own tail. The Supreme Court was never supposed to issue the Marbury ruling. It's out of scope. However, it is correct in every letter. What Marbury essentially states is any law passed which is in contradiction of the Constitution, which is anathema to the Constitution is the actual language, is void prima facie, like right from the gate. And no court or judge shall enforce that law. Now, Marbury versus Madison, I believe 1815, is just a Supreme Court opinion. It does not carry full force of law. However, this past December 2024, Wilson versus State of Hawaii was decided by the Supreme Court, and it does have the full effect of law, basically restates Marbury versus Madison and says not only can you not pass a law that's anathema to the Constitution, but you cannot license a right nor charge a fee. Wilson versus State of Hawaii, just this past December 2024. Wow. Gives teeth to Marbury versus Madison. Everybody has wriggled out of Marbury by pointing out that it was, in fact, just an opinion that SCOTUS didn't really have any business issuing, even though it was correct in every letter of the word. Wilson versus Hawaii gives it teeth.
Like in my case, they put a void order on it. The judge made me pay out of pocket. Okay. And I think in Mansell.
What?
Yeah. So, right. So in Mansell.
Wow.
As far as federal law is concerned, state law, like these judges, if the Supreme Court ruled that you can't do indirectly what you can't do directly. So, I mean, that's an attachment. And even in the courtroom, he goes,
Yeah.
well, maybe we can attach it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, hang on. Do you have the transcripts of that?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Fucking
yeah.
nuke that guy.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, I've got quite a bit of the transcripts throughout this process, and a lot of it's changed. A lot of it has changed.
Whoa! If you can prove that they tampered with a court document, you've got them by the short hairs.
Yeah. Well,
so that removes the whole family court thing. That removes the whole judge's opinion. All of that. It is official tampering with official court document.
Yeah.
That's a technical, and there's no wiggle room for them.
I think it's under 511. It's under 511, isn't it, Bob? It says no attachment, levy, seizures, nothing.
5301. 5301.
Or 5301, sorry.
Stand by. All right. In regards
5301 of what?
Civilians out there.
Title 38.
38. Title 38.
Title 38, Section 5301.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right. Now, hang on. Now, for the civilians out there who are fucked up in all of this family court shit, what he just said about altering the transcripts is a huge fucking thing. It happens all the time.
Absolutely.
If you can get in your county 10 to 15 guys and you do a freedom of information request for all of the cases that judge is sat in front of, and you have them all file formal complaints against that judge for tampering with the transcripts, I mean, if it's just onesie twosies, they can easily sweep that under the rug. But if you have a judge who's been on the bench for 5, 8, 10 years, he's going to have a couple of thousand cases under his belt.
Right.
Here's the thing, Pop. Here's how it works in the legal realm.
Okay, go ahead. My thought.
No.
All right. So if you can, get a hold of these people who sat in front of this judge and have them file these complaints. Now, it's a process. I get you. But the state board that oversees all the judges are going to flip the fuck out, because this is not happening just in one or two places. It is happening across all of the counties in all 50 states. They all fuck with the transcripts.
Right.
And that's probably one of the reasons why, well, you can't have a recording device or a cell phone.
There you go. There's a placard.
Yeah. All you got to do
outside the door.
That doesn't mean anything. Those placards carry no weight of law.
That's right. You just put your phone on record, record all of what takes place in the court.
Yep.
And if you get in front of the board of review, you go, I have the recording right here, and here's the actual transcript. You'll see they are not the same. Once they find that one time, it opens the door for just a fucking avalanche of fucking problems.
Where
I put another request in, a FOIA request, to go, hey, how many veterans in this county, in Ogemaw County, have went through family court? Denied.
Well, then you just
they wouldn't even.
Your name is flagged. Let me give it a try. Give me the information to send the FOIA to, and I'll give it a shot.
Another thing. Stand by. If they're always going to shoot you down in the beginning because they know it's going to cause all kinds of problems. That's why you got to enforce the FOIA requests in federal court. They have 21 days to respond.
Right.
So I've got a question regarding that, Pop, because I had another gentleman that runs it's called an Alienated Fathers page, and he asked a question a couple of weeks ago: should they allow cameras in family courtrooms? And I said yes. He said no, because then all your information is out there. But the reason I said yes is because when I requested my transcripts from my contempt case, and my mom was sitting there with me. It was in the midst of COVID, so it was all on the phone. And she said, I remember the judge saying this. When those transcripts came, that information was not there.
No.
Let me say this about that, Don.
That's scary shit, guys.
So how do we go about that?
Wait.
Let Steve talk.
Let me say this about the cameras in the courtroom. I think an individual who is in that courtroom has every right to record his own testimony and the proceedings for his own use. I could see not wanting to broadcast that stuff out there. But if you go into court, you should have a right to record your own situation. That's your life that they're playing with. I can't see any reason that they should refuse.
Well, they're doing it to you.
No, I know.
Every corner of the courtroom has a camera.
In their asses.
Yes.
3 reporters.
Yes.
Recorders in there.
Yep, exactly.
Well,
if they have a right to record you, you have a right to record you.
Stand by. Spy glasses. They look like regular glasses with a camera in them. Are virtually undetectable. I've worn them in court before.
Spy cams.
And it costs like $79.
They're really good. The quality has gone way the hell up now too.
And the battery will last 3 hours. You're not going to be standing in front of a judge for 3 hours.
No judge is going to talk to you for 3 hours. Period.
Unless it's a murder case.
Bob.
I've sat through divorce cases where it was all morning, all afternoon, and 2 days in a row, just bullshit, whining, bullshit. And this was in front of a judge who was supposed to be a experienced fellow. He's retired now, and I went through there with one veteran in particular. I went through the next door judge with another veteran. Took 2 days to do just a simple series of trial arguments. And then I've been in one court. They did 6 in just the morning session.
What state
it was
is
just quick raping the veterans as fast as possible. Washington State, Pierce County. Yeah.
I know.
The Wild West.
My whole court
One of the
proceeding
worst ones in the country.
Pierce County was probably 45 minutes long. Like I mentioned, I believe it was 2 episodes ago, I got extremely lucky that my ex's attorney, who was a YMCA discount special, made some incredibly stupid remarks that I was able to easily refute with official orders from the United States Army. So yeah, Pierce County is bad.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And here's a fun note. A friend of mine was a bankruptcy lawyer, and between 2005 and 2008, she said that more than half of the divorce lawyers in Pierce County went bankrupt because they couldn't collect a penny off of the veteran and Social Security benefits that they were going after. So half of the veterans ended up dead, but the attorneys took a lot of hits, and a lot of them went out of business.
Bob, those attorneys, even in general, that go in there, they want the money up front from the veterans.
Yep.
Yeah.
They
if
go,
you
no,
have
we can't
assets,
do
the
payment
attorney,
plans, because they know it's the same way, same thing. That's why
if
they
you have
put that
assets,
round
the
order on.
attorneys get them. If you don't have assets, they just throw you to the wolves.
Yep.
My attorney was Barb Henderson, was her name. She's long since retired. This was 19 years ago, 18 years ago, I guess, somewhere thereabouts. And she wanted the money up front. That's where I lost all of my money and assets, was during that.
Yep.
Because she wanted the money up front.
Yeah.
I went through that in 1990 and 91. And every attorney I talked to said the same thing. You're dumb for being in the military. You're dumb for having more kids than you could ever afford. And you're dumb for getting behind. And that was before I got behind.
Did this start like progressively get worse as like, was there like a couple decades? Was there where like between 90 and, 2010, was it, I don't know. Cause I'm like, it's bad now.
Between 1981 and 1991 is where all of the laws and all of the precedents were set up to turn it into the death-creating financial dick-sucking machine that it's become.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it became much worse after the 1996 adjustment in the Title 4D Section 659, when they said they basically took 662 and repealed it, and then merged that little nibble about retirees who get VA benefits into 659. And then they started putting out things like that IM 9803 and some other propaganda to say, look, you go after veteran benefits. The federal Office of Child Support was telling the state offices, go after veterans, go ahead, rape them to death. So in the year 99, I went through a horrible experience, another breakup and stress. And that's the last time I saw my youngest child, my daughter. Haven't seen her since. But I went through that time. And the state came after me for my support order from my older kids. They didn't care that I was totally disabled. They didn't care that they had already had the documentation of my disability in and out of the hospital. They had buckets of documentation on me. And yet they racked this thing up so they could create a false narrative and garnish my federal benefits, leaving me with $600 a month to live on, as screwed up as I was. Naturally, I became homeless. I believed I could fight back and bring this to the court and explain what they're doing wrong and why it's illegal. And I tried and I pushed and I fought back and I argued and I went to everybody I could. I went to Congressman Norm Dix. I went to Governor Gregoire. I went to a dozen of attorneys. And I asked, how do I get this done? How do I fix it? How do I make them stop stealing this money? And they all said, well, you have to consult with this Office of Child Support Enforcement and this conference board and review board and everything. You have to go back and talk to the people who are stealing the money. And I said, yeah. Talking to them, not getting anywhere, need real help. That was what pushed me to the edge. And that's why I explained to some of the people I talked to that you have about a 3 to 5 year window on average from the crucifixion in the court and this massacre in the court until the veteran just runs out, just like, no way, I'm homeless, I'm struggling, I don't care. You get tired of waiting to die and you just accelerate the process.
Yeah.
This is something that I can attest to my personal experience. And if it weren't for a bunch of veterans, dragging me around and getting me to volunteer and keeping me out of trouble, I'd have been dead a long time ago. So yeah, the thing is, we're looking at this 3 to 5 year window on average, and we're looking at it did accelerate, to answer Brandon's question. It accelerated enormously in that 99 to 2000 range. It went up by a factor of 10 times worse. And then between 2000 and 2010, it also increased significantly. I wouldn't say exponentially, but definitely in a big way. From 2010 to 2020, it seemed to be going more and more. This is during the time where we're seeing these heavy duty cases bouncing in and out of court, and this kind of repeat performance heading back to the state courts, and everybody making all these random rulings about how the state court controls all this. All those state court rulings, dead on arrival, void, ab initio, garbage. Right. And we get to Howell versus Howell in 2017, and they said, well, Mansell set the precedent back in 1989. So what's the problem? You can't touch it. Shut up. Right. And then we go to the pandemic. And during the pandemic, see, we have military training. We can buckle down and live in a small space. Yeah. But holding the rest of the families down was impossible. Getting the kids to stop kissing their boyfriends, girlfriends, and dog just wasn't possible. So that's what triggered a huge amount of increased numbers of divorces. Now, when they look at the veterans community, they just say, well, you know what? You deserved it. And they go after them. We go through courts. The veterans that broke up during pandemic or because of pandemic and the post-pandemic psychotic bullshit have been struggling with the courts. All right. They're in their third year of court. They're at the point of defeat. This is one of the biggest reasons for the tidal wave of self-deprecation, deletion, decomposition, demastification, and otherwise. Why we're in such a bad shape right now. Yeah. So it has increased exponentially because of The state's losing billions of dollars to that era of the 2020, 2021. And because of that, they are raping, pillaging, plundering military and veteran families like it's going out of style. And these families are being trashed because the veterans die.
So
all that magic money goes away.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporters Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.